The following demo illustrates how Symphonica can be used to provision SD-WAN services. As the diagram shows, we will take a service order from the northbound and run it through Symphonica to be decomposed through the service order manager and orchestrator to turn up two routers and establish a BPM between them. It's also possible, though not shown here, to orchestrate multiple SD-WAN controllers to achieve multi-domain service orchestration. The following shows Symphonica in a non-configured state. We will start things off by sending a properly formatted order using Postman to simulate a TMF641 payload. We can see that the customer SD-WAN client has no service in the inventory. This is the customer client we will use for the demo. Using Postman, we will simulate the BSS and carry out the following actions. 1 is sending the authentication request to obtain a token. Once we have the token, we will send the service request to the service order. This service order is compatible with TMF641 and will be responsible for requesting the configuration of both edges in Symphonica, activating them and configuring the channel between them. That is why the service order will have 5 items, 1 and 2 to configure and activate the edge of Site A, 3 and 4 to configure and activate the edge in Site B, and the last, number 5, will be in charge of requesting Symphonica to overstate the configuration of the secure channel between the sites created in the previous order. The service order might have dependency between items. In this case, the dependency will be linear between items. This means that the item 2 will be secured after 1, 3 after 2, and so on. Symphonica, in addition to configuring each object, represents a control flow to ensure that all action have been correctly impacted in the SD-WAN controller, and to validate that they are in the correct state. Let's send the service order. We can see the service order sent for Postman under the SD-WAN client. Right now, item number 1 is running. Here, we can see the service order. If we check, it is in progress, and item number 1 is in progress. If we click and see the flow, we can find that the execution stops the manual information interactivity. At this time, Symphonica is waiting for the installer to share the machine ID. The machine ID is the code that identifies the machine. With it, Symphonica will be able to configure the site. In this case, Site A. Symphonica presents different colors in the execution of each flow, to let you know in which step it is. Green, if the activity was executed. If it's yellow, the activity is being executed now. And if it is black, it means that the activity has not been executed. That's why the input machine ID is now yellow, because Symphonica is waiting for us to enter the information. We can use the Tech Assist application to send Symphonica the information component to the machine ID. In this case, we will use the mobile application. We go to the tasks and claim the task. Here we have the QR code already configured, so we will claim the task. We are going to scan the QR code and complete the task. If we watch the flow, we can see the execution stating the necessary steps to configure the edge in Site A. At the end of the flow, if we return to the execution status of the service order, we can see that item 1 of the service order is complete, and item 2 is being executed. When everything is marked as complete, we can check that Symphonica has created the edge device in its inventory as a CFS. It's RFS, and the UCP detailing key information about its characteristics. The information stays in the Symphonica inventory to have a future reference of the installation. Here we have the edge, we have the RFS, and we have the results. We're sending a query to check the configuration made by Symphonica, so we can validate the configuration made at the edge in the FlexiWAN page. Here we can check that the agent in Site A is configured, approved, connected, and synced. Going back to execution of the service order, we can see that the flow has stopped at number 3. It's in progress. If we click the flow, we see that the execution is stopping the manual data entry activity, in the same way that we did in the order number 1. We can also see that the Symphonica waited for the technician to share the machine ID of the machine from Site B. At the following step, we will use the Tech Assist mobile application to send Symphonica the information corresponding to the machine ID, using the QR code. Here we have the second edge. We're going to claim the task, scan the QR code, and complete the task. At the end of the execution of item number 4, we will have both edges of Site A and Site B configured and activated so that item 5 can request the SD-WAN controller to create the tunnel, the safe tunnel between the two edges. At the end of the execution of all 5 items, we can see that the service order ends with a complete status. Now it's in progress and it's configuring the tunnel. Now, Symphonica is checking if the tunnel is OK in FlexiWAN. Everything is green. So if we check here, everything is completed, the service order is completed. If we check the service in the inventory status with the SD-WAN customer, we find that the 2 CFS for edges and 1 CFS of the tunnel are configured. That means that all the information generated during activation or obtained from the SD-WAN driver is stated in Symphonica. We can also see the relations in between CFS and, here we can see that the tunnel is formed with conform by this UCP. So all the activities that Symphonica has received and executed have been seen in Sentinel. This is in Sentinel. Accessing the platform, we can see information of the number of services received. Platform efficiency, inventory status, number of CFS and number of tunnels configured in Symphonica. Number of order and average execution time. Number of command and edge average. With this dashboard, we can see everything that was done in Symphonica. The number of orders they are trying to complete, and all the related information about this activation. Thanks for watching our demo for the use case of creating 2 edges, one located on Site A and the other on Site B. In each of the sites, there is a machine with a Linux operating system on, which the agent runs and will form a secure site-to-site tunnel between them. This POC was developed in a couple of weeks thanks to Symphonica's capabilities. The cloud instance was available in a matter of minutes and following the MF service.